another each day. Where there's a will, there's a way.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you and you and you and you and you. Good afternoon. That's what's cool about you, Scott, is you prompt me. Good afternoon, Leisure. Says Leisure. Before I memorized you by, I mean, you made it unique, which is what I love. But I always think of Leisure Suit Larry. I gotta laugh because people are just kind of pissing me off. I'm calling this the live before my therapy. Oh, so, and I'm not going to bring up names because it doesn't matter. And I don't want to lose friends over a stupid fucking post. But I put out a post yesterday and it says, what does it say exactly? Let me go to it. But it kind of ticked me off, man. I mean, even when I'm trying to be helpful, people asking an alcoholic to quit drinking is like asking a bird not to fly, right? Now, you as an alcoholic understand that, don't you? No, maybe not all. See, it's in my nature to drink. It is part of my nature. It is part of my instincts, right? That bird's instinct is to fly, right? It feels impossible, right? You know, and somebody told me it was irrational thinking. So that's what pissed me off. And I don't go for the name calling. It's not irrational thinking. It is alcoholic thinking. And that adds to stigma, my friends. That tends to add to stigma. I ain't go for it. Sure, it's a stretch. So is jaywalking. It's insane, ain't it? It's insane thinking. You are correct. That's the point. I did appreciate the same person asked me, well, how did you get through that? I did appreciate that question. So at the same time, I don't want to quite make an assumption. Maybe the way I'm reading it, who knows? But that's not what this is all going to be about. I'm not going to come on here and bitch about a person. Not quite, right? I mean, the whole point of alcoholism is the irrationality, the insanity behind it. That's what I got from it. The denial. Now you get it. Right? And it could be by perception too. It could be by perception, but and I'm not saying alcoholics are the most misunderstood, because I don't know, because I haven't been other things, right? But I know as an alcoholic, I tend to be misunderstood a lot because Dion doesn't always know. I didn't always know what I was thinking, right? Hey, Michelle, good to see you. Good to see you. Glad you could join us, right? Um, that's why I'm not huge on social media. I prefer the running my mouth and talking about things. Um, you know, that's what I prefer because then there's no mistake. There's no mistake. If I make a mistake here, the mistake is made. There's no being able to say, hey, You didn't read that correctly. You misunderstood. I can't I can't switch it, right? Now there are a lot of things that in this world that I do not understand. And if I'm trying to do something and I need to understand it, I don't point a finger, I ask questions. Inform me, let me go. But see, even earlier with some of the other things, like earlier I was asking somebody and it was an honest question, but it was taken wrong because maybe it was the way I wrote it. I don't know. So with that, I think I'm just going to stick to my lives and the podcasts. Other than that, I ain't putting anything else out because I don't have time to run around and explain everything that I do and say unless it is asked. If you poke the bear, you poke the bear. All right. At the same time, sometimes Dion takes debates too seriously too. So see, there's there's two sides. It takes two to tango, and it doesn't matter the situation. It doesn't matter the situation, right? I tell you now, I ain't right about everything. I already know that. But if somebody doesn't bring it up, then how in the fuck are we gonna find the right thing? Right? And if I get attacked for that, I will defend myself. You will find my board. You will. I almost said Borderlands because Borderlands 4 is coming. Right? Leisure says I don't need to explain anything. I get that too. I get that too. Right? But I've spent most of my life being misunderstood, and it's just not something that I really go for, man. You know, maybe if I was in my 30s and I still had time in this life to fuck around with certain things, then maybe I would. But I'm a little bit older, and you know, it isn't that I think I'm an expert in recovery, but I am. I am with addiction, and I don't even want to say addiction, with alcoholism. The other ones I'm not as familiar with. Right? Some of the addictions, like food, that just confounds me. I'm not even big on eating. Oh, if I have an eating problem, it's not eating. You still need. That's like being addicted to air, man. You need air, right? But for them, it's about making healthier choices and things like that. Well, gee, does that sound familiar? It does. Right? See, this is where the conversations or the arguments start going with with okay, addiction to drugs and alcoholism is not the same. And I ain't gonna argue it. I will not debate it. It is not the same. Every professional in this world will tell you that. Anybody that is an expert in this field knows that there's a big difference. There's a big difference. Leisure says you have experience and with experience comes the knowledge. Yeah, I would agree with that. Doesn't mean I know it all. I'm still learning. Try to be open minded about some of these new ways coming out. I've been doing some research into that. Some of it is pliable, kind of makes sense. Okay. But I've also watched 1,000 different ways that it didn't work. I also need to learn from the people that came before me. You know. But yeah, being misunderstood, it might even be sometimes it just feels like people go out of their way to misunderstand you. And sometimes I feel like I'm that person also. right? See, the problem with that is if we turn to blame and shame and name calling, then what we're not doing is searching for the solution. And that's what I'm searching for. I'm searching for some solutions. And I go through other things that I don't talk about here. I don't talk about them in meetings. I might with a closed mouth friend. I do with my therapist, maybe my wife. I'll give you an example. Sometimes for me, this world's just too fucking big. It sometimes this world just confuddles me. I don't understand it. And then my brain will start going, like, how is this made? I'd never be able to do this. It's beyond me. How are these created? Where were they created? How is the building built? Where did all the bricks come from? And see, it starts to overwhelm me. The highway, the walls on the highway, the the guardrails, all that stuff. It was all created by all these individual people, and it just starts to compound on me. That is a very small example of what my brain tends to do to me. It starts to make these things a little bit bigger than they need to do things, right? Yeah. At the moment, I feel like I need to unplug from this fucking world. I do. Leisure said it's all the BS that overcomplicates recovery for people. Yeah, that would be part of it. Because I find recovery to be simple. So I'm trying some different things. Right. So what is the answer? Well, to hang out with people that do understand. That's the answer. Finding them, that's the hard part. And I have my set of people, and most of you are here right now. Oh, well, a chunk of you are here, you know. But we are misunderstood quite a lot, even by other people in the field, right? But it's because we're not keeping it simple. We aren't keeping things. See, some things you have to keep separated, but that doesn't mean that it should cause division, right? And there you go, Leisure, because I know, and yeah, and you're absolutely correct on that. Leisure says it's only as simple as you make it. And see how my brain is making it unsimple, right? My brain makes it unsimple, man. That is part of the alcoholic behavior. That doesn't it might happen in other addictions, but it's a mental illness that comes with a lot of things. And you would be very, very, very hard pressed to convince me that I wasn't born an alcoholic. Maybe you weren't. It's your choice. But I had to settle that question. Why? I had to settle it. And the best I can come up with was I was born with this. Now, does that mean people with drug addictions have like maybe they what I'm not doing is reducing other addictions. Absolutely not. Fucking fuck drug addiction, man. That's hard. That is hard. Hi, Sip Society. That goes out the tongue pretty cool. Nice, Sip Society. I like that. Good call. Good name. The Sober Diaries. Sweet. It's good to have you. Welcome. And if your experience is different than mine, we want to hear it here, right? And I think that's where alcoholics get a little sensitive. That we tend to think our experience is the one, and everybody kind of no. Everybody here has a different experience, and that experience is fact. In fact, I'm going to share one right now. Michelle says an alcoholic can become a drug addict, and a drug addict can become an alcoholic. That's what I mean. Addiction by addiction is addiction. You're not incorrect in your way of thinking. Right? Now, I'm not saying this to be mean, but I don't agree. We don't have to agree on that. We don't. See, that's what's not required. If that helps somebody get to a place where they can start helping themselves and get into recovery, that's where we start agreeing. Do we really need to question how we got here? Only in the sense that we're going to need to get down to those causes and conditions. We got to figure out how we tick, right? Now, in my experience, Michelle, and it's my experience, and you might have more experience on that with me. I've worked with a lot of people. It often comes down to DOC, which is drug of choice, right? So if I put alcohol on the table and I put crack on the table, which one you taking? Well, I want the alcohol. Well, there's your answer. Absolutely, Michelle, and I love you too. If we, and who knows, we could both be wrong. And that's okay. That's okay. If we can't go back and forth with these things, if I sat here and said, well, no, Michelle's just wrong. She's just wrong. Gosh, that's pretty close-minded. That'd be pretty close-minded of me because maybe that is her experience. And if anything, that would make it what? Fact. Would make it the truth. That would be it. We can understand and not always agree, and it's all right. There are some things that we can agree on, right? Like the best way to stay sober is by giving away what was given you, right? We can agree on that. Several of us could agree on the fact that, could agree that a higher power helped you get to where you're at. We can agree on that. We can both agree that having one drink sucks. So we got to find those places where we do agree so that we can create growth, so we can create the solution. Okay. And every time we come here and disagree, and not even disagree, but have different experiences, it lets other people know that it is okay for them to have a different experience. There it is. And isn't that cool? What does that feel like? Like it kind of feels like freedom to me. It does. You know, we can create such a beautiful life for ourselves. But if we're in contention, you know, because I'm not here to change your mind. I'm just here to kind of get the conversation started. I can tell you now, sitting behind that or sitting in front of this camera, I've learned a lot from other people coming here and sharing their experiences with us, man. Right? I bet there's a lot of things we don't agree on. Type of music we listen to. You probably listen to a different type of music than me, maybe. I don't know. I like my rock and roll, man. I love my rock and roll. I do like rap, but it's got to be 90s or before. The other stuff I don't get the hook. It doesn't hook me. I would agree with that, SIP Society. Sobriety is the freedom, and that is where we all come from. Because doesn't it, we can agree on this, that whether it's alcohol or drug addiction, we all come from different backgrounds. We come from different ethnicities, different societies. We all kind of grew up differently. You could have lived in the healthiest home ever and you turned into an alcoholic. Maybe alcoholism didn't run in your family. In mine, it did. It was very clear, the pattern, right? Both my mother and my father were alcoholic. That gave me like a 70% chance of being an alcoholic. Right. And I took that and ran. Right. So what can we do when other people misunderstand us? What can we do? Right? You know, because I don't know about anybody else, but I tend to be kind of opinionated. And so I try, and I will say here, it is opinion only. I will tell you, right? Opinion to me means that might be able to change. It means I'm still trying to kind of figure it out, right? But if we can find those landing spots together, if we can find them, right? So there are other things that we could agree on from the stuff that we don't agree on. We couldn't hold a job. We couldn't have a decent relationship with other people. We felt useless. We felt like we couldn't contribute to society. If we agree on that, then gosh, we have a place to go, don't we? And even then, the solution may look different for you than it does for me. That's awesome. It needs to. It needs to. Or to be the same story over and over and over and over again. You know, may you go to a meeting and it's a speaker meeting, somebody's telling their story. They tell your story and they're not even the same gender as you. They come from a totally different background than you, but the story was the same. Right? Loneliness is a good example in this. Very few people understand that's not true. I'm going to rephrase that. Alcoholics and addicts tend to understand my loneliness. That's where we tend to be the same also. Right? So, but we got to be careful on that. I'm not the alpha omega. The 12 steps isn't going to help everyone. They help me. They help me. AA is not the only way. That'd be kind of silly, right? SIP Society, if you need a speaker for a podcast or anything, let me know. Be happy to. Here, I'll throw my email in chat here. Did I even bring up chat? I did not. But yeah, so being misunderstood is, this is where I know for Dion, this is where the part where I need to be careful of letting it that the misunderstanding, letting it turn into letting it turn into being a victim. I'm not a victim anymore. All right. Being a victim in my case was my own choice. In a sense. Once I moved out of the parents' house, it was now my choice. All right. So, all right. I think that's going to be it for this one. Got 19 minutes till therapy. Yay, therapy. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being here. I appreciate it. And thanks for the conversation. Keep those different ways coming. Keep them coming, man. Okay. I'll tell you, there's a part of me that gets irritated by it, but I don't. Nah. I'm an alcoholic. I'm a reactive person. You think I'm gonna come on here and look at the best parts of my life and everything? No, life is messy, man. But recovery is simple, and we gotta keep it that way. I know. Let me rephrase that too. And Dion has to keep it that way. All right. Thanks, everybody. It was great meeting you, SIP Society. Great to have you. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate it. I love you. You know I do. Peace out and have a day.